Welcome to this special edition of Almost Live. This week we're going to look back at some of the highlights from 2025 to 2026 academic year. Almost Live starts right now. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Amelia Ihle.
And I'm Pluto Draper. Our first flashback takes us back to August.
Our guest was the student organization Shine Your Light. Let's check it out.
Thanks for coming on today. Can you start off by telling me a little bit about yourselves?
My name is Ronnie Stinson. I serve as the current president for Shine Your Light, and I am a sophomore here at Indiana State, majoring in nursing with a minor in African and African American studies.
I'm Corey Stout. I'm a sophomore here at Indiana State, majoring in supply chain management. I serve as the director of membership outreach for Shine Your Light.
And what made you guys want to start this nonprofit organization?
So I started this nonprofit simply because I didn't see an organization that was advocating or educating students here at ISU on mental health or different mental health topics.
Now, I know there are a lot of stigmas surrounding mental health. What are some ways you want to spread awareness around campus?
Spread awareness. To spread awareness on campus, we host events. We do movie nights. We have a recent event coming up, the Splash Out Stigma event. It's really good for us to just spread awareness. We have flyers, all kinds of resources. If you catch one of us on campus in an SYL shirt, then we're more than happy to give you any resources or help you.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Now we're going to fast forward to October. We had Emma Heitman from COM 455 on our show. Let's revisit what Emma had to say about such a fun class.
Now, we've seen this recent project with the Buddy Bench. What is that all about?
So the Buddy Bench is a organization that uses recycled plastic to make buddy benches, which are something that's put in parks and schools.
For our next video, we're going to stay in the spooky month.
Late October, we had Michael Winstead on to talk about all things haunted. Let's go back on our scary ride and hear all things haunted in and around Indiana State University.
There are some other scary stories outside of campus. Can you tell me about 100 Steps?
Yeah, so 100 Steps Cemetery is just outside of Terre Haute. It is another one of those stories that if you're around the area, you've definitely heard of. Long story short with that story is if you go up, you count 100 steps, hence the name, and the caretaker or undertaker of the cemetery is supposed to show you your death. If you go down the steps and you don't get 100, well, guess what? The premonition is said to come true. And then I've been out there many, many times. Now, the story goes that you do it at midnight, but in the state of Indiana, it is illegal to go to any cemetery in the dark.
Oh.
So just a heads up there.
I didn't know that.
I do not advise going to any cemetery at night, or Officer Reagan and Officer Michael will probably get you in trouble. And then another story is this guy right here. This is old Stiffy Green, not the real one, of course. But Stiffy Green is he's probably the most well-known story in Terre Haute. Long story short, again, I say that all the time, but John Heinel was a local florist in town, Stiffy Green's owner. And when John Heinel would, do what people do, die, Stiffy couldn't quite get over his death. So every single night until Stiffy's death, he would go sit on the steps of John Heinel's mausoleum. Well, fast forward a couple of years, the stories started to grow of people hearing moans and ghost whines from what sounded like dogs. And then the story spread of, hey, inside of John Heinel's mausoleum, there's Stiffy Green. And of course, as stories do, they spread like wildfire. So that led to people shining flashlights into John Heinel's mausoleum, and you would see glowing green eyes, just like replica Stiffy right here. And then somebody, unfortunately, thought they would end Stiffy's life once and for all, and took a shotgun and shot into the mausoleum. So ever since, I believe, the early 1980s, Stiffy Green has lived inside of the Vigo County Historical Society Museum. And I think it was during COVID, they built Stiffy his own mausoleum. And anybody can go in the museum and get to see the real life Stiffy Green.
And now I'm scared.
Don't worry, Amelia. It was just a flashback. But now we're into the new year. Our first guest of 2026 was Rich Green.
Rich was on to talk esports.
Now a part of student media. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. So esports started here a few years ago, actually 2 years ago at Indiana State with the Missouri Valley Conference. We started with Sycamore with Super Smash Brothers, and then last year we played Rocket League, Valorant, and Super Smash Brothers, and we're entering our third season with the Missouri Valley Conference this year, where we're playing Overwatch, Valorant, Super Smash Brothers, and Rocket League. Got it.
Sounds like a lot. Can you tell me more about your role as the director?
Yeah, so I'm in charge of basically making sure we get all the teams put together, oversee the coaches for each of the teams, making sure our schedules are maintained and signings up for leagues, and making sure students are actually eligible to play and things like that. So we do a lot of recruiting. Of course, huge help from the coaches to make sure that their teams are in place, and then working with in the future, getting some sort of like sponsorships and things like that, and maintaining the lab itself too.
If you've ever been to a football game or a men's or women's basketball game at Indiana State, you're probably going to recognize our next guest.
Late January, we chatted with Tammy Scheich, head coach of the Indiana State Spirit Squad.
What does a typical day as a coach look like for you?
The most exciting part is it's different every day. We are in our period now, which I know we'll talk about, with recruiting students for the team for next year. So there are campus visits and Zoom calls and all sorts of fun things there. It's practice for the Spirit Squad, so they are getting ready for those ball games, and we are gearing up for the MVC tournaments. It is community service time, both things that I'm involved in personally and the team is involved with, and then lots of prep for the forest because they are getting ready for a bus trip to Valparaiso for the forest members.
Wow, that's really great.
One of our February guests was Chloe Trinkle, a student director in the Department of Theater. Trinkle directed the play Anthropology. Let's revisit this awesome experience with her.
Could you tell us a bit about Anthropology? Without spoiling.
Yeah, of course. So Anthropology follows Meryl, a tech person from California. She is currently dealing with the disappearance of her sister, Angie. And to cope, she builds an AI version of her sister, which she starts talking to, and eventually the AI reveals the possibility that Angie is still alive.
Wow, that's so interesting. I heard it's an all-female show?
Yeah, it is. It's really great.
That's awesome. How did you end up becoming a student director?
Yeah, so every spring, the theater department sends out a studio guidelines, like application, to the theater department students who can submit a show that they would like to direct.
Before we get to our last flashback, we'd like to take a minute to thank all of our wonderful guests we've had on this academic year. Without you, none of this would be possible.
On our latest episode, we got a chance to sit down with current Miss Indiana State University, Bryn Obsberg.
Let's revisit our conversation with Bryn in case you missed it.
I am a junior studying applied medicine on the pre-physician assistant track. I have 2 minors in massage therapy and public health, and both of my parents and my older brother went to ISU, and I'm a Terre Haute native, and I'm just really excited to be here tonight.
Yeah, so much. What does Miss Indiana State entail for you?
So Miss Indiana State University is not only an honor, but it also comes with a lot of responsibilities. Not only do I promote the campus and the Miss Indiana program, but I also get to go out there and attend a lot of events, whether it's for campus life or just events in the community. And I get to do a lot with my community service initiative.
Thank you all so much for joining us, Sycamores.
If any of you have any suggestions for Almost Live guests, let us know by sending us an email or sending us a message on social media.
Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week, Sycamores.